Good morning. This is our daily tarot. I am thinking of just doing 2 readings a week, just so that I can make time to do other work and things. And so I'm thinking Sunday and Wednesday are going to be those days. If you have a strong inclination that you would prefer them to be on other days, of course you're welcome to let me know, and I will consider doing them on those days instead. We've been getting a lot of rain up here, and it's about to start raining again, so I'm going to try to just get this reading out before it starts giving us our downpour. We did start to see some snow on one of the peaks of the mountains in sight, so winter is coming, and we're starting to build up our firewood supplies and, just making sure we have enough for the winter and bring in our plants that are a little bit more susceptible to the cold and prepare, right? I just went to the hot springs the other day, and I actually went by myself, which was kind of an interesting experience because typically, when we go somewhere with other people, we tend to be in conversation and kind of be in that group, and it kind of shapes the experience that we're in. But because I went by myself, I was able to really put my attention on the sensations of the body and the different elements, and feeling the sensations of like water dripping off my body or sweat dripping off my body or a breeze, dancing on my skin after I got out of the water, feeling, goosebumps, or chicken skin, however you want to explain it, kind of start to surge after, going through a cold dip and then reacclimating to the temperature and eventually starting to get cool. And it was just a really sweet respite to put my attention there, because so often our attention is in the mind, right? And it's weighing things and measuring things and trying to strategize and do all these things. And particularly for me, because I have a Virgo rising, which means that Mercury is the ruler of my chart, and Mercury rules the mind and governs the mind. And I also have, 5 planets and my part of fortune all in my 3rd house, which is centered around the mind as well. So I tend to spend a lot of time in my mind. And although I have 5 planets in Scorpio and my part of fortune, which is a really watery energy, a lot of my emotions get processed in my mind. And as I've studied astrology over the course of my life, it's really given me a better understanding of who I am, and also allowed me to give some compassion to myself, because so often when we're out there in the world, people are constantly weighing and measuring us in comparison to either themselves or other people. And it's really important to recognize that we all are unique beings and here for an experience to enrich us and other people by way of exchange. So I guess I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience of the hot springs, because it was really nice. And aside from just soaking in warm water, right? And of course, I live in a cabin without running water, so having a bathtub or soaking in water is like, it's my jam. But aside from just soaking in warm water, it was a really nice experience to just place my attention on different elements and listen to how the body was experiencing them. And it brought me a lot of, I don't know, I want to say it was just really therapeutic for me. So let's get into today's tarot, right? Enough of me going on and on about all that stuff. We have a lot of pentacles in our reading for today. We have the Ten of Pentacles that showed up as reversed for our opening card. The Queen of Pentacles that showed up as our challenge. The King of Pentacles showed up as the way to get through the challenge, but he showed up reversed. And then the ultimate outcome for the day presented itself as the Emperor, which is a major arcana. clarified by the Queen of Swords. So we have a lot of queens on the table, a king, and also an emperor, right? So there's a lot going on that we're dealing with. But because there's so many pentacles on the table, it's really pointing our attention to this question of our value system and the material picture and what it means to have material security. And this card that we have as our opening card showed up as reverse. So we have the Ten of Pentacles showing up as reverse for the do note of our reading. And in a lot of ways, it's like saying, you know, we have this vision, we have this crystallization in our mind around what material security looks like. And there is a snippet of exception that we aren't really moving toward that, right? Because this card is coming in as reverse, which tells us that the energy isn't flowing. There's something that is being hung up on something. It's like we have this vision, but we're not actually putting our energy and effort to it. Or the alternative that it's also bringing to my mind is that the idea of what material security was and has been for ourselves as far as like a pinnacle of achievement or an aim is really being turned on its head, and we're starting to examine it differently and examine what it actually looks like and if our efforts are actually continuing to put us in that place. Now, the challenge that we have showing up today came in as the Queen of Pentacles. Now, this is pretty telling, right? Because the Queen of Pentacles is speaking to the energies of Capricorn, which is our life path and our legacy and, you know, our reputation in front of others, like what we're known for, what is our title, right? And the Queen of Pentacles, as I said, governs Capricorn, and we've had Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, and it's been in retrograde for quite a while now. And if you consider the planet of Pluto being this huge transforming energy in the sign of Capricorn, we've all been going through this really deep transformation in a lot of ways in regard to what we're aiming toward, what we're moving toward, right? And so I think that puts it on the table for us to really examine if we're moving toward the direction we want to and what that direction actually is. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit, so I'm going to try to get going, speed up a little bit more. The way we're going to get through the challenge came in as the King of Pentacles reversed. The King of Pentacles is speaking to Taurus energy. It's a really stable, fixed energy, right? Fixed earth is like unmoving earth. And so we can start to understand the symbolic nature of the bull being bullheaded and stubborn because it's that fixed earth energy, right? They know their values. They are going to stand behind them. But he came in reversed. And if you consider that the planet of Uranus has been in Taurus for a number of years as well, Uranus creates unavoidable change in areas of our lives that are preventing us from progressing. So it's quite likely that a couple of years ago that the direction that you were moving toward has changed quite a bit. You know, many astrologers talk about this time being the great time of resignation because so many people are changing their jobs and changing their careers, right? But consider that Taurus is an earth sign and Capricorn is also an earth sign. So they have this 120-degree relationship, which in astrological jargon is known as a trine. So there's this beneficial supporting ease in that. And it's in a lot of ways like all of these shifts and changes that we've been experiencing in life has been prepping you and prepping me and prepping all of us to step into a new direction and step into a direction that truly honors what we believe in and hold values toward, because we've all been conditioned to consider that we should value certain things, right? But some of those things that we valued maybe didn't bring us the enrichment that we had expected for chasing after them. So we're in this interesting time, right? A lot has been shaken up and a lot has been shaken off. And what do you do with what you've learned and experienced from it, right? are you willing to see it for what it is? Because we are in this great time of change. We're also stepping into a time of having a couple of eclipses. And that's notable for the sign of Taurus because, you know, eclipses when they happen, especially if they are happening in close relationship to a planet that you have in your natal chart, it's speaking to some big change that is a directional shift in your life path. And it's something that you don't necessarily get to control. And in these ways, you know, life supports us to grow and to face challenges and to step in to the direction that we want to move toward, because we have to work with the change that we've been experiencing. And consider we're getting ready to go into Scorpio season, right? And Scorpio and Taurus are in relationship in the zodiac wheel. They're in opposition. So we're going to have the sun in Scorpio. We're going to have the moon in Scorpio when we have a new moon. And when it's a full moon, that moon is going to be in Taurus. And it's going to be creating this opposition that we will get a lot of clarity around the changes that we are going to be moving into. So something to consider, right? Now, the ultimate outcome that we have for today, you can probably see some of the rain coming now. The ultimate outcome that we have for today is the Emperor, right? Which is noting Aries energy, clarified by the Queen of Swords. Now, this is interesting to me because over in Aries, we have Jupiter in retrograde. It's right in the beginning degrees of Aries right now. And then we also have Libra showing up, right, by way of the Queen of Swords. And Aries and Libra are in opposition as well, right? So we have Jupiter, which you can see actually if you go out at night and there aren't clouds, right as the sun goes down, because the sun is in Libra right now. And if Jupiter is in Aries, which is in the opposite sign, you'll see Jupiter start to rise in the east because they're in opposition, right? And they're going to be moving in this movement together as they go around the Earth's axis, or really the Earth goes around the sun. But by our view, they're on this opposition. So we have these energies of expansion in sense of self, and where we're in this place of review. And the sun in Libra, which is all around exchange and relationship, and they're in this opposition. So we're working with that as well. You know, who do you want in your community? And are you in alignment with a relationship that you can expand with and grow with? Or are you at a really important turning point in your life? A lot of people are experiencing either healing relationships or resolving traumatic relationships right now. So this axis that's happening between Aries and Libra is really something to consider as we move forward into this time of change. I send you all a good wish. I do believe that I'm going to have to get in out of this rain before it starts dumping for the next couple of hours. But I think that our cards today are asking us to reflect on our values and if we're actually making efforts to move in that direction. And if we're not, perhaps it's time to adjust our routine and adjust our day so that we can put our time and energy toward the resources and the things that we value the most, which I think right now comes down to the relationships that we have in our lives. I send you a good wish, and I will see you again soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.